I'm Dr. Cece Evans Puglisi with 1 verses 30, and I cannot believe that 360 days have slid by, and we are in our last week of 2016 and our last week of 1 verses 30. And I need to thank you for every letter, every email, every message that I got about how 1 verses 30 had touched your life, and it had touched your morning, and it had touched your day, and it had changed you to move closer to the dreams that you carry inside of you. And as we just draft our New Year's resolutions, if you're drafting many or if you've drafted many in the past, I'm going to ask just one last thing. I'm going to ask that you just draft one resolution, but that it would be infused and that it would be lit up with joy. Because joy is always going to help us transcend our circumstances, and it's always going to help us transcend where we feel limited or where we feel we fall short. Joy will always call us out and above our circumstances. So I'm just going to ask that you would behold whatever your dream is, whether it's cooking or running or singing or dancing or whatever it is for you, that you would just set your mind, you would set your eyes, you would fill your ears with something that fills you with inspiration to move toward what calls you to joy, and that you would move into that. Because we have a temptation sometimes to just try and do so many things well. But our minds, we need to be reminded of this, but our minds are not a muscle. They are an organ, and all organs work in their most optimum capacity when they're at rest. So I'm going to ask that you just single-mindedly put your mind at rest by resting it on joy. And this is another thing I'm going to, just to remind you of this, when you get threatened to get blurred out and just taken out of peace or taken out of perspective or taken out of vision because you're just so caught in the noise and the chaos that come with the end of the year, but they also come with life, I'm just going to ask that you would come to a full and complete stop for 5 minutes. That you would just, wherever you are, you would sit down. You would sit down and close your eyes for 5 minutes so you could just recalibrate and just begin to sink into your experience and ask yourself, what do I need to do right now? Where do I need to go? What is most important? What is going to bring me closer to joy? Because when we get compelled and we live out of anxiety and out of compulsion, we derail our own lives. And if you're anything like me, my worst parenting moments, my worst personal moments have been when I've just been wrought up with frenetic energy and angst, and I'm just pushing forward no matter what the cost. And I always just break down and make my worst mistakes. But on the other side, when I'm at rest and when I'm at peace, I make my best decisions. And I make the best choices for my life and for my relationships. And so I'm just going to ask that when you get into that mode where you do not know what to do next, I ask that you would just sit down and get in quiet for 5 minutes, just 5 tiny minutes to free you from the compulsion of just go, 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 and not ever replenishing yourself. Because we have to avoid this burnout that our life can sometimes just tempt us toward. We got to outsmart it. So as we close this year, I'm just asking again that you would set your mind on joy, one intention that would bring you closer to joy. And then whenever, anywhere, and whenever you're tempted toward just keep going through the motions and keep going out of anxiety and out of compulsion, that you would just slow down. You would take a deep breath. You'd sit on your couch, you'd grab your journal, or you just harness your inward attention and ask what your next step is. That you would just come to a full and complete stop for 5 minutes, just to get clarity, so you can get your mind and your eyes back on joy. And that's where we're headed next year. In 2017, that is the only thing we're going to cover, is how we access joy in the midst of relationships that pull us down, and life that pulls us down, and circumstances that pull us down, and our own personal weaknesses that threaten to pull us down. We're only going to focus on joy. And I'm so excited to see how joy changes everything for all of us. Thank you.